Blog Talk Radio.
It's time for Voice of Indie. Your host today is Beem Weeks, author, producer, and marketing monster for independent multimedia publisher Fresh Ink Group.
Well, good evening, and welcome to episode 2 of Fresh Ink Group's Voice of Indie podcast. And this is actually take 2. I had a technical issue on the first go-round, and that's live radio for you. My microphone apparently wasn't working or wasn't sending out the signal of my voice. But we're going to do another run-through of this program and maybe get it right this time. So, good evening and welcome to Fresh Ink Group's Voice of Indie podcast. I'm your host, Beem Weeks, and I'm flying solo tonight as Mr. Stephen Gies is on his way back to Alabama and is on the road tonight. He may actually be home, and if he's hearing my voice, feel free to call in and join me on the air, Stephen. On tonight's show, I will be sharing info on some recently released books from some of the best indie authors in the business. And if you have questions or comments, please feel free to send those messages via Twitter using the hashtag FreshInkGroup.com. Or not .com, just hashtag FreshInkGroup. Once again, that is hashtag FreshInkGroup. Now, on with the show. I'd like to, first of all, invite everybody out there to stop by my blog tomorrow or at midnight Eastern time here in the U.S. My blog is The Indie Spot, and you can find that at beamweeks.wordpress.com. Once again, that is beamweeks.wordpress.com. And just to share another indie author, Harmony Kent is going to be my special guest on my blog. So stop over there, leave a comment, read about her new work coming out, and show some support and some love. And we're going to kick this off with another fine indie author. But actually, first, let me share a little bit of Fresh Ink Group's short story showcase. Fresh Ink Group is collecting the best for showcases number 2 and 3, both fiction and mini memoir. There is no entry fee, no payment or royalties. Winners are both published and invited to Fresh Ink Group membership with your own dashboard to promote all your work on FreshInkGroup.com. This is a great opportunity for those authors who haven't been published yet, as well as for some of those who are already established in the writing community. To submit your entries, simply visit FreshInkGroup.com/contests. That's FreshInkGroup.com/contests. And see if your work is able to make it into one of these books, and who knows, you may find some new fans around the world. But we did the first one, and that was quite successful, and people seem to enjoy that. And there are some of those authors that are in that edition, in the showcase number 1, who have gone on to publish their own books, full-length novels and whatnot. And one was even just recently published a children's book. So this might be your opportunity you're looking for. Now we're going to move on to the first book we have lined up that I'm going to share with you tonight. And this one is a collection of essays from a wonderful, talented writer by the name of Fiza Pathan. Fiza lives in India, and she loves the written word. I can't stress that enough. So tonight's first book, Under the Spotlight, is Scenes of a Reclusive Writer and Reader of Mumbai by Fiza Pathan. I read this book. In fact, I've read several of this author's works. She has quickly become one of my favorite writers. and favorite people as well. She's just a wonderful, sweet soul, and she's a better person than I am. And since I've read this title, I'll take the opportunity to share with you my review, because these are my thoughts on this book. I am a recluse, and I love books more than I love people. It's a line from the author herself, and she means it too. In Scenes of a Reclusive Writer and Reader of Mumbai, author Fiza Pathan opens the door and allows readers just a glimpse inside of her life. The essays introduce us to her world, her family, her many loves. Her loves being books and characters, of course. I won't say Pathan has had a difficult life, though it couldn't have been easy either. Her father rejected her based solely on the fact that he didn't want a daughter. But it is through this rejection that the author is shaped into the very person she is today. See, while the father may have been absent, her mother, grandmother, and uncles were very much present, as were those who worked in the libraries of Mumbai. These are the rich cast of lives that aided Pathan during her childhood and beyond. One can fully appreciate her family simply by reading these essays. Her words come from the heart, which is what makes this collection so wonderful. Pathan's love for the written word, for storytelling, began with Archie and Jughead, and carries on through Dracula, Bollywood, and the classics. Social issues rank high on her list of priorities, and often showing up within her writing, whether it's essays, short stories, or novels. As a writer, Fiza Pathan skillfully weaves her words into beautiful tapestries that tell tales in vivid colors and textures. Though her culture is different from my own, I am easily transported into her world, able to feel what she wants the readers to feel. This is one trip I truly enjoyed taking.
I am a recluse and love books more than I love people. So begins Fiza Pathan, the self-proclaimed reclusive writer and reader of Mumbai. In this charming collection of personal essays, Fiza recalls important phases of her life, along with the books she was reading at the time and where she was reading them. Revealed along the way are Fiza's personal struggles, from the father who didn't want a girl child, to the years she believed she wanted to be a nun, to the college friends who shamed her for gaining weight. Her greatest victories are found here as well, among them the publication of her first story, the request to autograph her most popular book by an author she admired, the start of her own publishing company, and the acquisition of her very own office-cum-writing hut. Within her stories, you'll meet Fiza's beloved mama, editorial partner and Uncle Blaze, many other uncles and aunts, the librarians of her youth, and plenty of book salesmen, all the people who have helped Fiza along her path to books, and more books. You'll also take a taxi with Narayan, Fiza's Man Friday, to visit her favorite haunts, from libraries to kiosks to boutiques to vendors, who pile their offerings on the sides of the road. And you'll learn the plots of her favorite comics, religious writings, medical thrillers, horror stories, activist writings, and so much more. Fiza believes that every one of the books she has read has helped her become the person and the writer she was meant to become. Scenes of a Reclusive Writer and Reader of Mumbai is her life in books.
And as I said, that's one to pick up. It really is. I thoroughly enjoyed reading this. You're getting an inside look at the writer. What formed her, and we all have these stories, all of us. These little things that came into our lives as we've grown up that form who we are. And this author, Fiza Pathan, shares these with us. So that's one to grab and add to your collection. So how's everybody doing tonight? I am doing all right until I played the playback of that last show and realized that my microphone wasn't picking up my voice. So hopefully it's picking it up now. And if you're listening, give me a shout on Twitter. using the hashtag Fresh Ink Group, and let me know that you're able to hear me. And if you have any questions or comments, like I said earlier, just ask away. I think starting possibly next week, we're going to have the phone lines open for callers to call in with their questions or comments or whatever. And possibly we may even start having guests next week. If not next week, it'll probably be the following week. But we're working on putting together some stuff to make this a thoroughly entertaining show. We're still working on the format, so be patient, and we should have something steady and settled in the next coming weeks. Give you a reason to want to tune in. That's what we're doing. We're looking to give you a reason to tune in. So when you see Wednesday night at 8 o'clock Eastern time roll around, you'll be wanting to come over here and take a listen. Now, it may be that because this is a backup show now, I'm live. I assure you I'm live. Some people who had tuned in at 8, you may have heard nothing, so other than the commercials. So, but like I said, if you're out there, give me a shout on Twitter, hashtag Fresh Ink Group, and let me know if you can hear me or not. Of course, if you can't hear me, you wouldn't be able to shout anyway. So, all right, we're going to move on. I'm rambling. Next up is Robert G. Willis-Croft's Daedalus series. Willis-Croft has crafted tight thrillers in this 4-book series that will surely appeal to readers who enjoy science fiction, military thrillers, and stories packed with action and realism. The author is a retired submarine officer, deep sea and saturation diver, scientist, author of numerous books and hundreds of articles, and a lifelong adventurer. He spent 22 months underwater, a year in the equatorial Pacific, 3 years in the Arctic ice pack, and if that's not enough, he spent a year at the geographic South Pole. He holds degrees in marine physics and meteorology and a doctorate for developing a system to protect scuba divers in contaminated water. He writes about what he knows best. So grab all 4 books and dive in for an adventure like you've never known.
In Daedalus, Navy SEAL Derek Tiger Bailey, irreverent member of the SEAL's Winged Insertion Command, makes a harrowing first base jump in the experimental Griffin 7 hard-shell wingsuit from the edge of space. He test flies the armor-plated Griffin 10 in Daedalus LEO, catapulting into space by slingshot and dropping from a record-obliterating 160 clicks. Testing the enhanced Griffin 10 Mk4 in Daedalus Squad, Bailey's 6-man team believes it is fully prepared for hurtling around the world and staging critical re-entry, but challenged to innovate life-or-death solutions with only seconds to spare. It might not survive intact. Then the presidential frontrunner is seized by pirates for ransom in Daedalus Combat, and the SWIC team is called to action where it must literally improvise on the fly with everything to lose. Join Tiger Bailey through all 4 adventures in sci-fi master Robert G. Willis-Croft's Daedalus series, now collected for the first time as the Daedalus Files, SEAL's Winged Insertion Command, SWIC.
You want action, Robert G. Willis-Croft delivers. Serious good stuff here. So how's everybody on the East Coast doing after the hurricane came through there with some flooding? I saw some of the stuff on the news and it looked pretty scary. So I just hope everybody's doing all right over there. We got enough stuff that's hitting this country left and right and hitting this world left and right. 2020 has just shaped up to be a real bitch of a year. So we're going to move on to Operation Counterpunch. Operation Counterpunch is by Mark Marlowe. He's a Fresh Ink Group author. And though Mark Marlowe is a newcomer to the publishing world, his debut novel packs quite a wallop. Operation Counterpunch takes readers on a secret mission inside North Korea. For the Navy SEAL tasked him with this intel-gathering jaunt, Let me do that one again. For the Navy SEAL tasked with this intel gathering jaunt, capture would mean disaster. One reviewer calls Operation Counterpunch an exciting, mesmerizing, wholesome, and informative story. This is one of those books you won't be able to put down. I have read this book, and again, this is the action. We've got some great action writers, thriller writers, sci-fi writers, just excellent writers in the Fresh Ink Group stable. So I'm going to go ahead and share that commercial with you.
North Korea will be the biggest challenge to your presidency, warned the outgoing commander-in-chief. But to imprisoned journalist John Jason, surviving each day in the prison camp proves the greatest challenge of his life. Protecting beautiful young prisoner Jisoo has also grown increasingly difficult for this slight man, otherwise powerless, but for his prowess at deceiving their captors. Navy SEAL Andrew Gunner Jackson is tasked by the president himself with gathering intel from the Hermit Kingdom. It's a dangerous gamble where capture means summary execution, if he's lucky, or death the slow way in a North Korean prison re-education camp. Information is the least of his concerns, though as the president agrees, he can leverage this mission to satisfy a few goals of his own. How far will each man go to fend off the cruel machinations of a ruthless dictator? And will that be enough for either to survive? Operation Counterpunch is ready to read now. Proudly published in hardcover, paperback, and all ebook formats by Fresh Ink Group. By Mark Marlowe. Operation Counterpunch.
Yes, definitely one you'll want in your collection, in your library. So my next question is, what do you think about construction companies? Do they interest you? I know. If you go into a bookstore, you're not likely to, peruse the aisle about construction companies. But we've got a book. Our next one, it falls under the nonfiction category, and it's an incredible story. This is an insider's view into a construction company that is no more. The rise and fall of a construction giant, the history, people, and stories of CFW Construction by Dick Farrer Jr. shares all the highs and lows of what had once been one of the largest construction companies in the world. Farrer, son of one of the company's founders, had an insider's view of all the behind-the-scenes developments that saw the company eventually disappear from the landscape. Farrer lays it all on the table in his book. A truly mesmerizing tale of ambition, success, and greed and business in the business world. You can find this one at all online booksellers.
Determined to bring utilities and small building construction to rural areas, William R. Carter joined with Dick Farrer and John Williams to form the CFW Construction Company in Fayetteville, Tennessee in 1952. Named for the partners, CFW expanded into building plants, roads, tunnels, bridges, and more. Within 40 years, the company grew to 5 offices, 14 subsidiaries, 1,000 pieces of equipment, and a proud workforce of more than 1,500 across a dozen states. Then came the scandals. By the end of the 20th century, CFW was gone, and the lives of everybody had changed. Dick Farrer's son was there for the best and the worst. He knows the history and people of Fayetteville, Tennessee, where he lives with his wife not 5 minutes from where CFW started on Pioneer Street, and 3 minutes from where it ended at 1824 Pulaski Highway. Now, he's written the definitive history, not just about a company, but a region and its people. With nearly 100 restored photos, most in color, Farrer Jr. tells the true story, naming names and documenting the details. Get your copy now and grab extras as gifts, in hardcover with dust jacket, or maybe a softcover trade edition. It's also available in all the ebook formats worldwide. including Nook, Kindle, Google Play, iTunes, Kobo, and more. The Rise and Fall of a Construction Giant is a keepsake, a historical record, the chronicle of an era, a compelling story told by the man at its center at the end. The Rise and Fall of a Construction Giant by Dick Fair Jr. is proudly published by Fresh Ink Group.
Yep, like he said, he's naming names and sticking to the facts, and he doesn't cover anything up. This is truly an incredible read, and it reads like a documentary that you would see on, 60 Minutes or Discovery ID. What happened? What was the downfall? So this is it's not a typical read that you wouldn't go into the store. Like I said, you wouldn't go into the bookstore or go online and, let me find something on construction. But this is one that if you like biographies and behind the scenes kind of books, this is one you'll want to check out and find out what not to do when you run your own company. All right, so you've written that story, you've finished your manuscript, and now you're waiting to take the next step. But where do you go for that step? Well, you can upload your work to Amazon and Smashwords and start telling people about your work on Twitter and that you've got a book for sale. You can run a Google search for online publishers to upload your work for you and maybe get you a deal on a paperback edition. Or you can slide on over to freshinkgroup.com and check out the publishing packages we offer. Dust-jacketed hardcover, softcover, audiobooks, and all ebook formats are available for your work through Fresh Ink Group. We also offer editing services, unique one-of-a-kind book covers, no cookie-cutter templates here, and professional video book trailers, all designed to send your very best work out into the world. So stop by freshinkgroup.com and see what we can do for you. We do good work, and we reach the world. And that kind of reminds me of something I had talked about on the first go-around of this show, which obviously it didn't go out because my microphone issue, but there is a kind of a parallel between modern publishing in the 21st century and the music industry in the 21st century. In both of these, the old model, the dinosaur as it is outdated, and it doesn't work anymore, and it's harder and harder to try to latch on to that model and make a big success of yourself. That's where small independent publishers like Fresh Ink Group comes in. We can't give out these big advances, but most of the big houses aren't doing that anymore either. And you still can't get to a big publishing house without an agent. And your first step to getting an agent is to query an agent and hope that one likes your work enough to take you on. If you're a big name, and that doesn't mean just in the literary world, if like a few years ago, Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones, he and his daughter, I believe it was his daughter, they wrote a children's book together and got it published and got a big advance for that because of the name, Keith Richards. Everybody knows Keith Richards. And so that worked for him. But for the average person out there, and the indie writing world is just filled with talent. I mean, tons of talent. Some of my all-time favorite books have been indie writers. Some of them have self-published, and some have gone through the smaller publishing companies. But it doesn't even matter about the talent anymore. It's trying to get that attention from an agent first, and then stepping up to the publisher. So that's where Fresh Ink Group comes in. But it's the same way in the music industry. And I bring this up because we're going to try to have indie musicians on here too. I get messages from a lot of these talented musicians from all over the place. They send me messages with links to where I can listen to their music. Some of them even send me free music, which is really cool because I'm a huge music fan. Most people who know me know that. But they're going through the same thing with the music industry in that model that the record company would come in and put some money behind you and give you 3 or 4 albums to build your audience. Those days are gone. Nowadays, it's one album, and even in some cases, it's one single. You're going to record a song. We're going to put it out there for streaming or for downloading, and if it doesn't do anything, you're done. They move on. They don't give you the time anymore, and they're not putting a ton of money behind you to promote this. So a lot of the musicians are now doing their own thing. They're able to, through the use of Pro Tools, they're able to record music on their computers in their own home and mix it and upload it to various streaming sites and to their own websites where they can sell it. And I run into a lot of these incredible talents online. And so they're doing the same things we're doing as indie authors. So this is where we're going to share this program across different platforms with music, with writing, with filmmakers, indie filmmakers. We're going to try to bring some of those guys in. And artists. Who doesn't love art? I mean, my favorite times are spent in the Detroit Institute of Art. I don't get down there as often as I would like, but this is just, I love art. But online, you find all these incredible indie artists. And some of them are even making book covers for writers. And they're not writers themselves, but they understand that a book cover helps sell a book. So in the coming weeks, we are going to strive to bring you indie authors, indie musicians, indie filmmakers, and indie artists. All things indie, because that's what this show is about. So guess what? We have merch. That's right. Fresh Ink Group has created a way for you to show off the fact that you beat the dreaded coronavirus. These t-shirts come in a multitude of colors and sizes, so pay a visit to merch.freshinkgroup.com and get your shirt today. Once again, that is merch, merch.freshinkgroup.com.
I beat COVID-19. She beat COVID-19. They beat COVID-19. Everybody who beat the coronavirus needs this shirt. Show the world that you beat COVID-19 with a custom shirt from merch.freshinkgroup.com. Order yours today, just $22.95 in the USA. Show everybody you're safe. Show them you are ready for the next wave. I beat COVID-19. Wear it proudly today. Visit merch.freshinkgroup.com with your credit card or PayPal account. I beat COVID-19.
Beat it into the ground, he did. All right. Social media. This is vital to authors and musicians and any creative person that's got something that they're trying to reach an audience with. Like this program, as a matter of fact. I use Twitter to get people to listen, and I use Facebook and whatever, and it's important. The thing with social media is we have the world at our fingertips, literally. We have the very world at our fingertips. We can reach people in the farthest reaches of this planet where there's internet. Now, up top of Mount Everest, I'm guessing there's probably no Wi-Fi up there, but pretty much everywhere else. And I guess what I would like to do eventually is, and like I said, possibly next week we're going to open up the phone lines to callers, but in the coming weeks, I'd like to do a show on social media. I would like to pick your brains, you the listeners, on what works for you on social media and what you're doing with social media. And I'll share what we're doing with social media here at Fresh Ink Group and in my personal stuff. Because I'm always learning, and I'm really eager to find out what works for. And I get my email inbox is jam-packed with people who are saying, "Hey, I got the answers for you on social media. You want to reach 100,000 people with your book and all this stuff," and you basically pay to give a listen to somebody telling you what supposedly worked for them. And a lot of these guys, it's the old thing, like back in the day when Twitter first came around, and it was, "Hey, for $50, I can get you 10,000 followers on Twitter." And you look at their Twitter account that's telling you this, and they've got 52 followers. All right, so I'm not going to shell out money to somebody who's making these big promises if I have to pay them to listen to what this advice is. So down the road, I'd like to have a show where we open up the phone lines and everybody comes on and shares what's working for them on social media, because social media is the new way, and it has been for a while now. This is how we find our readers. This is how we find our audience. This is how we sell our books and promote our books and our music and our artwork and our films and whatever. So keep that in mind, and maybe in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, it might even be next week. Who knows? So be sure to tune in. Next week it'll be 8 o'clock, and the microphone issue will not have taken place again. So if you listened the first go around tonight, once again, I want to apologize about the microphone issue. And let's talk that social media. Fresh Ink Group is all over social media. You can find us on Twitter at Fresh Ink Group and at Voice of Indie. You can find us on LinkedIn. You can find us 2 places on Instagram at Fig Publishing and at Fresh Ink Group. We have several Facebook pages as well, including Fresh Ink Group LLC, Fresh Ink Group Kids, and this is where we highlight children's books, including the authors that we have in the Fresh Ink Group stable that write for not just children, but young adults as well, teenagers and whatnot. And we also have Fresh Ink Group Book Trailers. Now, the page itself is called Indie Books and Trailers, but the handle on Facebook is Fresh Ink Group Book Trailers. And this is a place where even if you're not a member of Fresh Ink Group, if you've got a book out there and I see you on Facebook promoting the links to it, I'm going to put you on there. I share it all the time. So stop over there and take a look at what's up there. So find us, follow us, and we'll follow back on all of these. We always follow back. And stop by freshinkgroup.com, click on the Contact Us page, and send us a message if you'd like to receive our monthly newsletter. Just go over to freshinkgroup.com, click Contact Us page, and send us your email and address, and just to mention that, hey, put me up on your list for the newsletter, and we'll put you on there. Newsletter is really cool. We do it once a month, and it's short and to the point. It's not some long, thing that drags on and grows by the month. It's short and to the point, and it shares with you new releases, book trailers. Each month we have a free short story on there, and you'll find out the latest on what's going to be going on with this show as well. So going over there, like I said, freshinkgroup.com, click on Contact Us, and let us know if you would like to be on the mailing list for the newsletter. And, well, I think that's probably about it for tonight. Like I said, I'm here alone, so there's no back and forth and throwing ideas off of each other and the banter and all that. This works better when you have a couple people on there, but I still have fun doing these shows. I really do. Want to remind listeners again, at midnight tonight Eastern time in the U.S. I don't know what that time is for the rest of you around the world, but you can mark it on your calendar for tomorrow. Stop by my blog and show some love and support for Harmony Kent, a wonderful British author and book editor, and she does all things written word. She's a real sweetheart of a person as well. She's going to be on my blog, The Indie Spot, tomorrow, sharing her new release, and stop over there and comment for her, some support, whatever. That's at beamweeks.wordpress.com. Once again, that is beamweeks.wordpress.com. And just, show your support, because this is how we're able to keep writing and to, bring you new work, is when we have, this support. And the more people who are reached, the better. That's how it works. And this new world, that's how it works. We can't afford to take out the big 2-page ad in the New York Times and say, here's my new book, come and get it. It's not going to be, stocked on, all these bookstore shelves, because most of these bookstores are gone these days, and that's a damn shame. We still have one of the big Barnes and Nobles here in the area, which is really cool. It's one of the ones with the coffee shop, and it's that I go in there and I can be in there for hours, just perusing the shelves, looking for construction company books. But it's those are gone. So those days of having it on the shelves, there's still a handful of. We got some of the smaller bookstores here, little mom and pop operations, but shelf space is a premium. So trying to get your books in there, it's a bit of a dog fight, or a cat fight if you're a cat person. But, so we have the internet and we have each other, the indie community, the writing community, that hashtag, I use it a lot on Twitter, hashtag writing community, that, and a lot of other writers are using it, but we use it because this is how we help each other. So let's lift each other up, and maybe our model will outlast the old model, and it'll be a little more open, so there's no jumping through hoops and going through agents and all that stuff. We can just write and concentrate on writing and put it out there, and use this internet machine here, that there fancy internet machine. Use that for the promotion and the marketing and to reaching other people. So I hope you guys had tuned in. Those who have tuned in, I hope you had a little bit of fun with us tonight. Like I said, I apologize for the first run of the show at 8 o'clock, which didn't go off, but that's live radio. And I think it was probably my fault. I think I forgot to click a little button. So, you live and you learn. But that about does it for this week's program. In the coming weeks, we will be bringing you in-depth interviews with some of your favorite authors, artists, and musicians, as well as some you may not have heard of yet. So spread the word. Tell your friends. Tell your mothers. Tell your grandparents. Tell your kids. Tell everybody. We're on the air. And we will see you again next week at the normal time, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. And have a good night, everybody. Next week, Stephen G's will be back. So, and I was hoping to hear from him tonight. But like I said, he's on the road traveling. So hope he has a safe trip, and hope everybody else has a safe night.
You've been a part of Voice of Indie, a production of Fresh Ink Group. Spread the word, support our guests, then find us at freshinkgroup.com, and be sure to hashtag Fresh Ink Group.